Welcome to this week's video tutorial. Today I would like to show you how you can efficiently add feature information to your dynamic report if it was created with InstantAtlas Desktop version 6.7.1 onwards. With feature information, I mean information you may wish to display about your map features, which are not dependent on the selected indicator but are the same irrespective of the chosen data. This could, for example, be address information of point locations, such as schools or hospitals and so on, or names and contact information of people associated to your map features. It could even be images showing specific landmarks or flags of countries or opening hours of shops. You see, the options are widely spread, depending on your base geography and on what you wish to show as additional information about those map features. I will illustrate this with an example of adding address and telephone information to hospital locations in and around Edinburgh. The result could look like in this report, where you can see the additional information in the tooltips of the map features and also in the table as additional columns. Also, when I change the indicator, the additional information remains the same, no matter what indicator is selected. By the way, this video will not describe how to customize your table or map tip. If you want to know how you do this, please have a look in the InstantAtlas Desktop user guide. For the customization of the map tips, you could also watch the Essentials video number 19, called How to Customize the Tooltips of Base Geography Features. This video will focus on showing how to best integrate the additional information into the Excel workbook. Prior to InstantAtlas Desktop 6.7.1, the only way to achieve this was to set up associate columns containing these addresses and telephone numbers. However, so that they show no matter which indicator or time period is selected, it was necessary to replicate the same associate columns for each indicator, or if you have multiple time periods, even for each date in your IA datasheet, as you can see here in this example. This is obviously very tedious to set up, especially if you have a lot of indicators or dates. Also, the data file which gets exported from Excel into the report can become very large, with lots of repeating values, which could even have a negative effect on the report performance. To tackle these issues, our development team have provided some alternatives for InstantAtlas Desktop version 6.7.1 onwards, which I'd like to show you now. For Flash dynamic reports, you can now set up your associates in the Geography and Filters worksheet of your Excel workbook. The columns need to be set up to the right of any filter column you may have, and you need to enter the word Associate into the cell in row 1. The cells in row 2 contain the names of the associates. Using this method, each column just needs to be set up once, which is much quicker than having to do it for each indicator date combination. When the data gets exported, the Excel add-in will add these columns as associates to each indicator and each date. So the resulting data XML file looks the same as if you had used the old approach as explained previously. So with this method, we have solved the first disadvantage of the old approach, which was the time and effort it takes to set up the associate columns. However, the second issue still prevails, that the resulting data file could get very large and cause performance issues. You could use this method also for the HTML dynamic reports. However, for HTML reports there is a better way, which solves both of the mentioned issues. For HTML reports, it is possible to set up the additional information in the metadata worksheet as properties for each feature. To do this, the cells in column A, which is the element type, need to contain the word feature. The element contains the feature codes as you have them in your Geography and Filters worksheet. The metadata element can be whatever you like. It is used as the name of the variable when you set up your customized map tip or the additional columns for your data table. They are the equivalent of the associate column names. And in column D, you enter the actual values of the variables. This needs to be set up for each combination of features and variables. So as you can see here, I have set up 4 rows for each feature with the 4 variables street, town, postcode and tel. If I were to export this data to data.js, the values would not be added as associates to each indicator and date, but they will be stored as properties to each feature. Therefore, the additional information is only stored once in the data.js file, keeping the file size as small as possible. The HTML reports can use these properties in the map tip and the data table, if they are referenced by their variable names in the designer, in the same way as when you use associates. Unfortunately, this method does not work for Flash dynamic reports, as they don't have the ability to use variables or feature properties. I hope this video has helped you to understand the different methods of how to integrate additional feature information into your dynamic report. If you have any questions regarding this, please do not hesitate to send us an email to support@geowise.co.uk.